Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined tonight by Chronicle sports editor Alec Dietz and Chronicle sports reporter Josh Kirschenbaum. It is Wednesday, January 11th, and fellas, how many points is too many points in basketball?
Well, you're the guy that likes points.
I love points. I don't think there is. I think this is a trick question.
Okay.
There's no limit?
No limit.
You want to read off the Oakville score and we can have a discussion?
Was this last night?
Yeah.
Last night.
Last night, Oakville beat Merriam Knight. Was this in Matlock?
Yes.
107-4.
So hot right now.
Good
That's
good
Aaron.
drop.
That's Aaron seeing that score.
It was turned me on. Let me tell you, 107-4. They won by 103 points.
This is one I'm a little sad that it came in at like 11:30 at night.
Would have been nice to have a little more info on this.
It would have been nice to have a little more info, and I feel like if it had happened earlier, legitimately might have been picked up, at least at the statewide level. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you see these stories every once in a while, like team wins by 100 points, and usually it's then followed by a bunch of mad people online getting mad at kids scoring points in a game where you're supposed to score points and keep the other team from scoring points.
I agree. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it could have been picked up. It still might be. I don't know. You never know. 107-4. That's a lot. Ashton Boyd had 27. Eddie Clatouche had 18. Daniel Rodas 14. Courtney Price 12. How many other guys were in double figures? Is that it?
That was it. They had 10 players suited up, and all 10 of them scored. I think 9 of them scored at least 7 points.
All right. How do you feel if you're the 10th guy on that? Do you only get like 4 in this game?
Yeah,
Tough.
Oakville was up 92.
I mean, they still scored more than the entire Merriam Knight team, so.
True. Oakville led 92-4 after 3 quarters. Yeah, that's a lot. Oakville, are they back on track? Or is Merriam Knight just, maybe not the strongest team?
I think
on the
they should
schedule?
abolish their program.
Yeah. Looking back at their schedule, they played.
Am I
Alex
wrong?
Ready to just kill them off.
Am I
Jesus.
wrong though? Like, just why are you playing?
Why? Well, there's got to be a way. Like, I know there used to be a way that like the state school for the deaf used to like have an agreement that they'd play JV teams.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Play C teams.
Merriam Knight, looking at their schedule, was Three Rivers Christian's only win of the season, I'm pretty sure. And Three Rivers Christian beat them 57-7. And then Mossy Rock beat Three Rivers Christian 82-7. So transitively, this actually lines up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Poor Merriam Knight.
Sorry,
You know what?
Owls.
I don't feel bad for teams very often. Kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have cooled it off after half. What were they up at halftime? Like 70-2?
They scored 34 points in the third quarter, so it would have been
60.
58?
58-2.
Yeah. This is it really slowed down.
And yeah, we know
49 in the second half.
we know very little about, like, for all we know, Merriam Knight had 3 players on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been.
I don't know if they were. I think the tweet we were sent said that Oakville had 31 steals as a team. No clue if they were pressing. No clue how long they were pressing.
I mean, anything after the first quarter kind of sounds like maybe it was excessive. But whatever.
Once when I was at TDN, when the Klatskoye girls were like really, really good and playing teams that were really, really not good, I got to a game midway through and I think it was 72-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
And I think that finished like 90 something to like 10, and the coaches almost got into a fight because they were still pressing in the third quarter.
All right. Moving on to a slightly more reasonable margin of victory win. Napawine beat Onalaska 98-40.
Only 58 points.
I wonder if that's a program record for points for.
There it is.
For
there's your where you just set the program record.
No, I was not. That might be a program record for Napawine. I can't remember scoring 100. Maybe they have though. James Gross 29, Jaron Prather 17, Carson Denault 16, and Cal Bullock 16 off the bench. He's a freshman, right?
Yeah,
think
maybe
so.
a sophomore.
I think he's a freshman, and he was an 8th grader playing like varsity baseball last year. It's Bullock's kid.
Yeah. Does not suit up for the varsity team that often.
Okay.
Still scored 16 points.
16 points.
You know what? Pretty good outing by him. Nice work, Napawine.
Should have scored 2 more points.
Yeah.
Should have scored 10 more than they could have beaten Oakville.
Yeah.
Could have gotten chalupas.
They could have been the headliner on this podcast. And then Wahkiakum 90, Winlock 55. Brody Avalon scored 43 for Wahkiakum, tied the school record. The record was set by Cathlamet boy Cody Olson back in 2009. He was pretty good. I think he was the State Coaches Association Player of the Year his senior year.
All right.
And fun fact about Cody Olson, he played for his dad, Bill Olson, now the coach at Nacelle. The only time I've ever seen a father and a son get technical fouls in the same game was a Wahkiakum game that they were both in.
Oh, come on, man.
I know Bill Olson has a penchant for drawing some technical. He can get a little fiery out
like
there.
that in our area this year. I think the Salmies are too even keeled to do anything like that.
I would love to see the Salmies both get techs. That would be wild. But yeah, it wasn't a huge surprise.
Yeah, Mike Christensen's son gets screams something as the water boy for Toledo. Gets thrown out, and then Christensen goes after him.
But yeah, that was I think it was like a playoff game. They were playing at Centralia High School, and it was wild. A lot of fun. This podcast is brought to you by Goebel Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor County. If your toilet has too many points in it and plugs up, call Goebel Septic. They will also rent you a porta potty. Goebel provides septic pumping, inspection, riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, of course, and the aforementioned rented porta potties and sinks. If you need to flush away a performance where maybe you only scored 4 points and gave up 107, call Goebel Septic 736-2167 or visit them online. Goebel Septic, Goebel septic.com.
It's really the 4 points when you think about it.
It really is. I don't really have any problem scoring. More of my Pestle scored 100 twice this year.
Yeah.
But they gave up like 60. Yeah.
And there are plenty of games, even the ones that are blowouts are like 95 to 20 something.
Yeah.
4 points.
4 points is brutal.
Yeah, that's not much.
It's really not a lot.
It's just not many points. Moving on to some games that were a little closer, but also more relevant to the standings. In 2A girls action, WFS beat Tumwater 53-37. This was last night, right?
Yep.
Big game by Julia Dalen, 18 points, 12 blocks. Carly Deskins got hurt early, and WFS pretty much finished with 5 players, all of whom scored at least 7. Reagan Brewer led Tumwater with 10. Bearcats are now 6-0 in EVCO play. In sole possession of first place, Tumwater is 5-1. Is WFS going to get a challenge in EVCO play, do you two think?
No.
Unless Walter comes back for Tumwater and sort of ascends their offense to a level that it just isn't it right now. Yeah, no, I don't think they'll be challenged.
It was very similar to Tumwater's loss to Montesano, where they just kind of struggled in the half court. They did start to figure it out in the second half. They actually had a stretch where they went on a run and were getting open looks and hitting their shots and not rushing their shots. So I think there were positives to take out of this, but just too much Julia Dalen down low. This game also had something I had never seen before. Alex said he had seen it once or twice, but Tumwater was trailing and they were getting it close enough that it was going to maybe come down to a close ending. And they only had like 2 team fouls.
Yeah, so they had to foul to catch up.
But they wanted to get that out of the way. They wanted to be in the bonus when they got onto the wire. So with like 5 minutes left, Tumwater coach Nathan Buchheit, I don't know how you say it. I'm sorry, Nathan, subs in his entire JV team and tells them to foul as soon as somebody touches the ball.
Yeah, that's a great strategy.
And
I like it.
4 fouls later, subs out the entire JV team and puts the entire varsity team back in, and we continue with the game.
That's gamesmanship. I like it. I like little clever moves like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
My favorite is when a team is up like 1 or 2 with only like 3 seconds left, and they're like at the other team's at the foul, or when they're up 2 and the other team's got like 1 free throw, and they wait for the other team to make the free throw and then just stand there and let the clock run out. Don't even take it out. Don't try to pass it in. Just let it go.
Did you see it was in an NBA game? I think the Grizzlies were up by like 40 on the Hornets.
Thing?
Yeah, and he just rolled the ball and he just sat there and no one like challenged it, so the clock ran for like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
and the coach was like yelling at it. And he's like, you have to like make him pick up the ball.
Yeah, the count doesn't start until you pick it up or something.
It was really funny. Everyone was mad about him about that, but they were up by 30. Like he was just milking the clock down.
Yeah, it was a cool move.
Yeah, I got no
saying,
problem with it.
I've read the rule book, and maybe you have not. In boys action, C2BL boys, Morton White Pass 70, Adna 63. Should we say it now or get it later? Morton White Pass #1 on the RPI board.
So hot right now.
Are they?
Do we care about the RPI board?
Well, the Chronicle Sports Twitter account tweeted it and asked Chad if he
who
was
was that? Who was that?
asked Chad if he was doing okay.
I don't think Chad is doing okay. He saw the AP poll probably and was happy they were number 3.
Yeah, probably. Josh Salguero, 24 to lead Morton White Pass. Carter Dantine had 11 off the bench. Jake Kinnear and Hunter Hazen had 12 apiece. Braden Salmi had 27 to lead Adna. MWP is 10-2 overall and 6-0 in league. In first by half a game over Napavine, which is 5-0 in league. Wahkiakum is third at 5-1, and Adna is in fourth at 4-2. Is this how we thought it was going to pan out last week when we were discussing this? This podcast is officially just let's talk about the C2BL boys standings now.
Yeah,
not too
I think.
surprised.
I don't know if we talked about. I don't think we had the chance to talk last week about Napavine beating Adna too. That was also another really big game. So
It was the day before, I think. We published the day before.
Yeah. Gotcha. So yeah, big stretch of C2B games. I think it's about sort of where I expected it to be. I do think Adna is probably a hair better than Wahkiakum, but obviously Adna had the pleasure of playing Napavine, Morton White Pass back to back.
I think the second round of these, like every good team plays each other, is next week. That's when you get the Adna, Wahkiakum, and MWP Napavine matchup.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been fun so far. I think Adna is kind of probably got to be a little upset. You know, they probably thought they wanted to take at least one of these. Coming up, they fell behind in the Napavine game last week, 32-10. Midway through the first quarter, stormed all the way back, got it to within 5 before Napavine pulled it away late. And then, you know, against Morton White Pass, they were tied up at 52 apiece heading into the fourth quarter before Morton White Pass pulled away. So, you know, they've got to be, obviously, you know, you want to get these games out of the way earlier in the year if you're Adna. Try to beat him the second or third time around or whenever you get around to him. But if you're Morton White Pass, you got to be thrilled because you got through Wahkiakum and Adna unscathed. And, you know, they look every bit the part of probably the favorite in the Central 2B right now.
And they've got Napavine next Wednesday, right?
And it's in Napavine, yes.
Okay.
They shake the Adna monkey, right? Weren't you saying that they hadn't won?
Yeah, they haven't beaten Adna in Adna since, do you want to guess?
Oh, Morton White Pass in Adna?
In Adna.
2016?
15.
15?
Yep. It was the 2015-16 season.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Just like in
It was in December, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was still in high school back then.
Me too.
They played a really tight game with them probably 3-4 years. 4
Well,
years
and as
ago,
we
probably.
heard a couple times before this game, they play in Adna a lot. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, Adna is a team that is so dangerous at home, you know, playing with their home rims, the way they shoot the ball. It's hard for any team to beat the Pirates in Adna, the way
we
they
are
can
not
shoot it.
saying that Adna is cooking its own rims.
No.
You think
But-
Salmi's up there just
But
like,
also, multiple coaches have told me that Adna shooting in its home gym is just way better than Adna shooting anywhere else.
So that was a big win and a big test for Morton White Pass taking that road trip. They also had a transitive loss, if you believe in such things,
the
because
RPI
Morton White
does.
Pass lost to Ilwaco and Adna beat Ilwaco. And that was at a neutral site. So that's a big win for Morton White Pass. I think that's a building block for them. And then getting by, we didn't talk about it, Wahkiakum last week. Really scrappy team who's, you know, probably one of the top 4 teams in the league. And it sounded like it was kind of a low scoring grinder. And then they win, yesterday against Adna. It was more of a high scoring, high tempo game. So sort of proving they can win basketball games in different ways. Again, that's got to be big for the confidence of that team, especially after the disappointing loss to Ilwaco a couple weeks ago.
Who are like the top 5 scorers in the C2BL? Like, do we know any kind of order? I mean, we got to go. It's got to be
Gross is number 1.
Gross number 1.
Swanson's probably number 2.
And then you got like
Avalon's
Salmi
up
and
there.
Avalon.
Yep.
And Salguero maybe.
Salguero has some games where he scores like 10 points because they don't need him to score sometimes,
Yeah.
or he gets tripled and he just throws it to Jake Kinnear.
Or they just have Kinnear go off.
Right, or Judah Kelly.
The Wakayakum game, I think Kinnear had, 19, and Salguero only had 11.
Right. So sometimes, he's probably not up in there. Really good thing about Morton Whitehouse is we've talked about it before. They don't rely on one guy to kind of be the dude on the team.
Seems like Carter Dantian was the guy yesterday.
I mean, he scored half of Salguero's points, but he came off the bench and did a good job. But that's like the point of the team, right? Is like, Salguero is the piece. He's the focal point. He's probably averaging 17, 18 a game if I had to guess. But Carter Dantian is a 2-year starter coming off the bench for them now, doing all the little things. Hunter Hazen's averaging double digits. Jake Kinnear, double digits. They're just really balanced. They can beat you in so many different ways, both inside and outside. Where Adna, they need Braden Salmi to score 20 points in most games if they want to win. They need Eli Smith to step up. They need 15, a couple threes from Seth Meister if they want to win. You look at Napavine, they need Gross to score 20 if they want a chance at winning in most games against good teams. They need Jaron Prather to hit his threes. And then I haven't seen Wakayakum play, but they probably would be in trouble if Brody Avalon weren't scoring 20 points against good teams or getting close to it. So that's what makes Morton Whitehouse dangerous. That's why, Chad's going to hate hearing this, but
that's why they're number one.
They're the favorites, I think, for sure. It's their depth. I definitely think they're the team that also could make the deepest run at state out of our 2B teams, maybe out of all our teams.
All right. This podcast also brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. You can check out their website, elamshf.com, to see more of what they've got to offer. I'm looking at their pillows page now. Some beautiful stuff on here. Some Jimena pillows, the Hayden throw set, the Theban pillow set.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, these pillows are black. Oh, boy. Man, I bet these are so comfy. All kinds of good stuff. Just one of the extra little things you can find at Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. Locally owned, family owned, and here to stay. You can visit their showroom in person at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or give them a call, 360-807-1211.
When you've lost by 103 points and just need to lie down for a bit.
You just need a nice fainting couch and maybe a blanket.
Maybe do it during the middle of the game.
The
outcome wouldn't change.
Fainting couches, I guess, for all like the middle-aged people who see a team put 107 up.
They're just opening their newspaper tomorrow afternoon and being like, oh, my good Lord, heavens. Let's see. One quick discussion / explanation on what is wrong with the AP poll.
I want to do this really fast.
Go ahead.
Go to town.
I feel like we make a lot of like snide comments about the AP poll at this time when Alec just puts his mic away and lets me go. Here's why we make a lot of like just to make sure everybody's kind of in on the loop. So the AP poll sucks for a couple of reasons, and the main one being that there is just no sample size. So the Associated Press emails probably just everybody who voted last year to get a sample size. And if you look at like the college poll, there's got to be 40 people that are kind of selected randomly from newspapers that are associated with the AP, associated with the Associated Press. That was a tongue twister. Who vote every week on Sunday, and then those votes get averaged into the Associated Press poll. For football, I think we had 12 people
Max.
For basketball, we're getting 6.
We got 8 this week.
We got 8 this week.
Who are the 2 newbies? Do you know who they picked
No
up?
idea.
So the problem that you get then is when you have 50 people and one person gets something, I don't want to say wrong because it's subjective, but
Sometimes people are wrong.
Sometimes people are wrong. Sometimes people haven't had the time to do their research. Sometimes people just miss a game. Like that happens. Like even if your poll is due on Sunday and you're like, I'm really busy, I'm going to vote Saturday, and then games happen Saturday and there's an upset that like affects the rankings, and one person does that, if there are 49 other people that you're getting averaged out against, it's not really going to make a difference. If there are 5 other people, that's going to have a lot of an effect. Like if I went rogue and voted Winlock number 1 in the 2B boys, that in itself would give Winlock enough points to make sure they were in the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one person doing something can make a difference. The other problem is that not the Associated Press's fault, the WIA's fault. WIA sucks. There is no at putting a centralized system of here are all the games that happened, right?
Yeah.
Are they not available through the RPI board?
No.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? If you're trying to find well-pinit scores or schedule, it's impossible.
It's like
Like
half
a
the
1B
most
school.
of the teams here are on a site called Arbiter. Some teams do max preps. So yeah,
We have our own doc of results because
we
there's
keep our own
nowhere
spreadsheet because that's the only way to tell who's played whom
in our area. And that's
and
it.
then the last part of it is that they're due on a Wednesday at noon. So you can't vote beforehand because if you vote before Tuesday night, you're going to miss all the Tuesday games, which, if you'll notice, is like when all of the games happen. Mm-hmm. So you get a bunch of people who are, I don't want to say uninformed because that makes us look bad, but you know, we're focused on our corner of the state. There are three other corners of the state. That's how quarters work pretty much. So we can't see everything. So we're reliant on SB Live and other statewide sites, mostly SB Live, who publish their rankings on Monday and Sunday. So basically my process is to open up SB Live, see who SB Live ranked, then go through one by one and see, okay, did those teams play anybody in the past 3 days that would affect the rankings? Also, do I agree with these rankings? Because they're set by what, 1 or 2 people.
You're just outsourcing your votes to Todd Millis.
I'm basically checking what Todd Millis is saying and seeing how wrong is he.
Yeah.
He sets the conversational tone.
And I guarantee, well,
He does though, because like Josh is about to say, probably most people probably look at that and just copy it.
like the one we saw, and Todd probably knows more statewide than anybody
Yeah.
in the state. But they also do their rankings really differently. Like they very clearly do their rankings on who they think the best teams are via the eye test. So it's not necessarily what their ranking is. It's taking into account injuries. It's taking into account whether teams are playing up to their potential. It's kind of like teams at their best, where would they be? Whereas I feel like for the AP poll, it's more, where are they now? So you have a team like Seaholm in the 2A girls they beat WF West. Their one loss, I think, is to Linden.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're 10
Nooks.
and 10
They're
and
10
1
and
right
1. They have multiple ranked wins. Last week, I think they were 5 in the SB Live poll and like 4 in the AP poll. They went 2-0. This week, they were unranked in the SB Live poll. I haven't talked to Todd about why, but I'm sure he has their reasons. And they're no longer ranked in the AP poll, even though they were 8-1 and ranked 5th and won 2 games and are now not ranked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the AP poll, take it with grains of salt. Also, if you work for a newspaper, try to vote in it because it will make it much better.
Yeah, please. Please vote.
With that said, in the boys 2A AP poll, Tumwater drops from 6 to 7, and WF West received votes.
Yeah. I don't know why Tumwater dropped. They beat everyone.
Yeah.
It's a mystery. In the 2B
Well,
poll.
you know why? Because SB Live dropped them.
Yes. In the 2B boys poll, Morton White Pass is number 3 again. Adna
Even though they've
is...
won 2 top 10 games.
Yeah. Adna drops 2 spots to 7 after losing to MWP and
Napavine.
Napavine moves up from 8 to 7.
Yeah, so Adna and Napavine are tied. Isn't that interesting? If
Oh,
only
wow.
there was a
Tied
head-to-head
for-
matchup to be able to tell who's better.
Yeah, what a game that must have been.
And we can't forget Adna got a first-place vote last week.
Did they
That's
get
true.
any this week?
Who gave him that vote? Was
don't
it
know.
either you guys?
No.
Was
I
it
don't
Jordan?
think they're the best team in the state.
don't
Sue
think
me, Adna.
I don't think they're the best team in their county.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
And Wakaikam, which is the best team in its county, remains number 9.
Wakaikam is. I don't know if Adna is the best team in its county west of the freeway.
I'm trying to. I was imagining a map. Yeah,
Napavine's,
Napavine.
yeah.
I was like PL.
Acosta.
Yeah. Not in their county. In the 1Bs, Mossy remains number 5. Oakville goes up from 9 to 6.
What
After beating
107
Merriam
points
Knight,
will do for
baby.
you.
And Willapa Valley drops from 6 to 10. Who'd they lose to? Mossy Rock?
Wahkiakum.
Oh, well, I
They
mean,
are on a.
that's-
Exactly. I don't know why they're falling.
They're
Like
falling. They're What are they? They're 7-4, and all of their losses are to
Central 2B teams.
ranked Central
Yeah,
2B teams.
Exactly.
who was number one in the 2B poll? Brewster, Burbank,
Davenport.
Davenport.
Yeah.
Deservingly so. They have a very good resume.
And
Who's their star player?
You're gonna make me say it for the
I
third
can't- I
straight
forgot
week.
his name.
How do you forget his name? It's a state that you went to recently.
Yeah, Tennessee something.
Yes.
I can't
What
remember.
falls from the sky?
Tennessee Rainwater.
There
Hell
it
yeah.
is.
Ah, what a name.
It really is.
In
Great
the,
basketball player too.
Yes.
Let's not lose that.
on the girls' side, WF West remains at number 3, and Tumwater goes from 9 to 8, despite losing by 15 last night to number 3 WF West.
I don't know why they're still ranked.
Adna girls in the 2Bs plummets from number 1 to number 3.
After an undefeated week.
Rainier jumps from 6 to 4.
Sure.
Napavine remains number 5. Do we think all 3 of these teams are going to finish in the top 5? I feel like they are not.
No.
1 or 2 of them might be.
I
Probably not
don't
all
know.
3.
Like like we talked about
You're
last
never gonna
week,
know.
Mossy Rock is literally the last champion from the C2B in 08, 07. Sure. Until they like go there and a team can do something and they don't have Kira Gardner on their team, and not that obviously Raymond is in C2B, but District 4.
Yeah.
I'm not going to really believe that they're going to make a deep run until they can do it. You know, I think they have all these teams kind of have the pieces to do it, but for whatever reason over the last couple of years, I don't know. Is Adna number 3? I don't know.
Apparently
I mean,
they're not number 1 anymore.
Why were they number 1 last week? I don't know.
don't
What
know.
changed? I have no idea. But I do think Adna's resume garners, a top 5 spot.
I think Napa Vines too. Yeah, and Rainier.
They all have decent resumes, but like if I'm doing the SB Live poll and I'm trying to pick the teams, like if I were to try to guess the placing teams, I would maybe pick one of those 3 to place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think placing is definitely within reason.
For one of them. But for all 3 of them, like are all 3 top 5 teams? I don't know.
No, it's not like it is for volleyball. I could see like somebody winning the 4-6 game, and somebody wins the 5-7 game.
Oh, like they match up against each other?
No, because they do. Aren't there like 7 placers?
Yeah, there's
7?
6.
Six.
There's
6.
Should only be 4.
Yeah.
Should only be 2.
Well, because like with volleyball, they have the 5th place game and the 7th place game.
Yeah, do they have that
They
in
don't have that in basketball. I think it only goes to 6. But are all 3 of those teams going to place? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Okay. Mossy Rock goes from 4 to 3.
After beating...
Valley.
Oh, they did beat Valley. All right.
Yeah, that's a signature win.
They should be 2, though.
They should be 2.
They should be 2.
Okay.
They've been good.
Sometimes they're 2 in SB Live's polls, so maybe people need to listen to Todd more.
Yeah, maybe.
One of the few Todd got right.
How you guys doing? You been too hot or too cold lately?
Not really.
No, it's been good.
Yeah, honestly. The rain's kind of been nice because it's like evened out the
Wait,
temperature a little
shoot,
bit.
AmeriCool's giving us money. I've been freezing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
I've
man,
been way
you know-
too hot, too, I think.
You know what you guys should do is call our friends at AmeriCool Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is their business. I was looking for some reviews on their website, not seeing anything. I'm going to check out their FAQ side, though. What size system should you have installed? The right size.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, who would have thought? Anyway, they have a 24/7 emergency service line. You don't need to call it all the time, but, if you do, it's an emergency. 360-273-3300. Visit their website, west.americoolonline.com. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they have their shop at 21822 Old Highway 99 Southwest, just north of Centralia. Happy to have them as a sponsor. AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. Stay cool. Not really a slogan. There's some good games coming up.
Stay cool, ... or hot.
Yes, whatever your preference may be. Thursday night, a couple big games. Toledo and Onalaska boys. Brentwood goes home, or Brentwood homecoming.
Kind of. He's not going to Toledo.
Toledo comes to Brentwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
That's a cool story. I like,
Yeah.
Brent, coming back and going on. I know Grady. I was talking to Grady Fallon over the phone. He said it was going to be weird. He said it'd probably be weirder if it were in Toledo. Obviously, he would prefer it was in Toledo, but it's going to be a weird matchup.
I bet Grady's going to feel really old.
He told me he's felt old. Yeah, he's like, this is the first time. I've had players like coach youth basketball or whatever, but like varsity basketball, that's weird. Plus, I mean, Grady's got his kid playing on the team now, so he's got to be feeling pretty old now. Good dude, Grady Fallon.
Yeah, nice guy. Napavine at Wahkiakum boys in Cathlamet.
Tough place to play.
Probably not for Napavine though.
Maybe.
I think they'll be fine.
I think that's I don't want to call it a trap game because Wahkiakum's really good, but I think that's a game. Napavine's going to be really happy if they come out of that place with a win.
I mean, they are 2-3 in the standings, so it's a pretty important game
for both teams. I think, and if you're Wahkiakum, you need to, beat one of these top three teams if you want to ascend. So, that's a big game for the standings. And again, Brody Avalon coming off a 43-point game.
Yeah, do you think him and James Gross are going to stand at half court and be like, "What's up? What's up?"
They should just one-on-one.
The whole game.
You know what I want to see at the tournament, at all the tournaments, whatever, when everything is done or beforehand or something, just to like a quick 16-player one-on-one tournament.
I'd rather see just a 3-point contest.
Meh.
3-point contests are like, so you have to, they're so much different than.
Well, I mean, so is a one-on-one tournament.
Sure, but like it's easier. Most players like play pickup and know how to beat someone one-on-one. Where like a 3-point contest is weird. Like, have you ever tried like?
Yeah,
I think they should install.
Weird.
I think they should install trampolines under the basket and just play slam ball.
Sure.
Okay.
Games Friday night: Montecito at WF West Girls, the Dalen Bowl.
You know what they say: if your court has 3 Dalens,
it doesn't have one. That's a pretty good non-league matchup.
That'll be very good. Montecito, I think they're ranked number 3 in 1A. They should be
4.
They should
They're
be
in the top
3,
5,
but they're and they are taking down a lot of 2A teams. So
Napavine at Rainier Girls this Friday.
Yeah, that's another 2 teams with either no losses in league play or Rainier has 1 loss. So
both ranked top 6 teams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're starting to get into the girls following the boys pattern where you got a sort of that top level starting to play each other.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Wahkiakum at Adna Girls.
Yeah, that's a rematch of the district 3rd place game last year.
Kayakum's sliding a little bit. But
Yeah. Well, Adna, previous number 1.
Yeah.
Top ranked team in the state briefly.
With 1 loss.
Still got to beat the best team to be the best team.
And Tudor Lake at Morton White Pass Girls.
Tudor Lake coming on a little bit for the girls. They just beat Wahkiakum.
And that's kind of a middle of the pack positioning kind of game.
I think Tudor Lake is 4-2 in league. MWP's 3-3.
And District 4 gets 5 bids to state, I believe. So pretty confident those top 3 in Rainier, Napavine, and Adna will get in. And outside of that, it's kind of like maybe Tudor could sneak in.
Well, and even before that, you get it in the boys, it's kind of set. But top 4 in league hosted districts. So on the girls' side, you have Rainier, Napavine, Adna. Who's that? I feel like that 4th in league spot's going to be pretty big.
Wahkiakum, Tudor. Could Morton My Pass sneak in there?
Get to host a first round district matchup. That'll be big.
Exactly. So there's kind of a gap between the top 3 and the rest of the league. So that's a big game.
Saturday, WF West at White River Boys. That's a drive.
It's like an RPI kind of game.
Are the boys any good? The girls, when they played, that was a big matchup.
I think most non-league games are just big to sort of get especially at this point in the year where everyone is like at least 10 games in.
White Rivers was good. They went to they played RA Long in regionals last year, I think.
But just big for where, if WF West were to make a regional bid, if they get this win, that's like, oh, well, maybe we can slot them a couple. Because last year they got stuck in the 15 spot, which was tough. So if you get a big non-league win and make regionals, this will help you out.
And then Napavine at Tudor Lake Boys on Saturday. 2 of the premier scores in the C2BL.
We are starting to hit the point I think we saw coming where you don't want to play Tudor Lake anytime soon.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game win streak.
4-game win streak.
Oh, really?
Who was it?
Against like
Castle
the
Rock
of the world.
No.
Win's a win.
Castle Rock, Ilwaco, they just
Even
beat
if you score 107
Rainier.
points.
Just be Rainier.
Yeah.
They beat an Ilwaco team that beat Morton White Pass.
Yeah. By the
And
transitive property, they're the number one team in the state.
All of those wins were by like 40 too. So, and they're doing it without Zach Swanson scoring 40 points a game.
Okay, they only beat Rainier by 11.
How
many Meldrums were playing?
2.5.
3.
2.5
All of them are
Meldrums.
back for the first
All of them
time.
are back, but Jake is still hobbled, evidently.
The premier program on CBS, 2.5 Meldrums. Monday games, the MLK Classic at Lower Columbia Community College. We got Tumwater Girls versus Kelso, Tumwater Boys versus Skyview, Adna Boys versus Chief Leshai, and Adna Girls versus Napavine. Which one of those games is piquing your fancy?
Adna and Abilene girls. That is a league matchup.
That-
The
I
only
will-
time those schools play each other is on a neutral court.
I will go on a rant. You don't like tournaments that aren't actually tournaments.
I do
don't
not.
like tournaments with league games. This is dumb.
No,
Yeah,
I like
I
it.
agree.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Like, this is the reason to have tournaments that aren't actually tournaments, because you want to keep away. Like, they should be playing, first of all, they should be playing twice a year. Like,
They're in separate quote unquote divisions.
and second of all, they should be playing
The Heroes
in
and
front
Legends
of.
divisions or whatever they are.
Like, how good was the
Something
students?
dumb.
The student section for the Napavine Adna game was incredible, wasn't it? For the boys game?
Yeah.
Like, it would be great if it wasn't in Longview.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to have it in a sort of an environment that might be like what your state tournament sort of game looks like or your regional game looks like. I think both student sections are going to travel. I don't think like the Adna boys are already going to be there. That's basically your student section.
No, they have real student section.
Yeah, I know they have more students,
got a
but still,
band?
that's a good chunk of your student section. It'd be cool if they travel both their bands. So I like it. I think it's a cool thing. Apparently, it was a Napavine home game that Shane Schutz was willing to give up so that they could play in this, what do you call it, a classic
Holiday class
showcase.
remembrance.
Sure.
Sure.
Let's remember MLK.
Remembrance.
I don't know.
Well,
He would-
it's a
yeah.
Martin Luther King thing. Yeah.
You would love this.
Really fast with the Tumwater boys, just the fact that they've played like 4 3As and 4As, and they've lost all of them.
They're playing another one.
They're playing another one. This would be like Skyview, and I think Skyview's like just outside the top 10 in 4A. Like, this is the chance to like bring home a win against a big school.
Yeah.
That would be good for them.
Also on Monday, the Tenino boys play at Willapa Valley. That could be fun.
That's a makeup game from earlier when was it the rain? No, it was the ice storm that happened.
Oh, the ice storm,
They couldn't go to Menlo.
You watched the ice storm lately?
No.
Not bad.
I did also want to mention at that LCC tournament, Adna Chief Leshai I also think is going to be really interesting for a non-league game. Leshai's been kind of rolling. I consider putting
Just
them in my
beat
top 10.
Tenino.
A lot of points.
I think I did put them in my top 10.
They're all pretty much seniors on that team too, and they
Mario
like to play
Lara.
like Adna does.
Sorry, not Mario Lara. Mickey Lara. He's one of their stars.
So anyway, I think that'll be both those Adna games intrigue me a lot.
Tuesday, PL plays at Willapa Valley in a doubleheader, a friendly of sorts. Could be good.
Yeah, is it a rivalry?
I like kind of like, yeah, it's they're rivals.
I was talking
Playing
to some
league
Valley
games.
folks who said it wasn't. I won't say
Well,
who.
I bet Valley
not-
folks probably are like, this is not a rivalry.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, you're kind of rivals. Like, you're close. Like,
I mean,
you're
they're
combined.
geographical rivals.
It's like
but
a friendly rivalry.
yeah.
They're
It's
not even geographical rivals.
sure they are.
Isn't Menlo closer to South Bend?
Well, yeah. Well, it's closer to Raymond.
Raymond.
Tuesday. Oh, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, we got some good boys games. Wakaika at Adna, Morton White Pass at Napavine, and Mossy Rock at Tenino. I think the premier game there is Morton White Pass at Napavine, provided neither of them lose big games, Friday.
I think
Thursday.
Can you name all of the WF West connections in the Mossy Rock Tenino game?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Like just between coaching staffs?
Yeah.
Let's see. Mossy Rock boys coach is Tom Kelly, who was the WFS girls coach, won a state title.
Yeah.
The assistant coach is Kelly Ross, who was a class of 2002 WFS basketball player.
Yep.
Tenino boys coach is Ryan Robertson, who was the WFS boys coach from somewhere in the 2000s until 2015, I want to say. Is Schultz the assistant out there?
Yep.
Schultz, WF West grad, former WF West boys assistant coach. And as far as players go, I'm not sure. But
I think that's it for the coaches.
That's a pretty healthy start. They should just play that one in Chehalis.
That's what Josh was saying.
Yeah,
it's like just move it to WFS. Like,
yeah, it's a nice neutral site for both of them. They're
every
obviously
single one of the coaches
very
has
familiar.
a Chehalis connection.
They're just gonna all show up in their
It's like Bamer have
crimson
a
and gray
Chehalis?
shirts.
Does I don't think
I don't
Bamer
think
does.
so. Or anybody else.
No,
Because he's from the Harbor.
Yeah.
Bamer was a Valley boy that transferred to Aberdeen.
Why are all the basketball coaches from Valley?
It's just, it's a coaching. You know who? Oh shit, what's his name? Luke Ridenour's dad was a coach at Valley once upon a time.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the '80s, I think.
Where'd Ridenour go?
They
Didn't he go to
they
Oregon
moved to
school?
Blaine, and then he played at Oregon before he got to the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't play it at Oregon High School?
No,
Okay.
because he was. Yeah, he played high school ball, but he played at least like 1 year at Blaine in high school when they were like 1A. I think. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all the connections I can think of.
Yeah. Those are the ones.
All
Should be
right.
fun.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's like the third most interesting game that day, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. But
if they played at Chehalis, people probably go.
yeah. I don't know. The 2Bs, man, they command all that attention.
They do.
You see Joe Cheerhart's been making the rounds to all the 2B games.
Doing a little scouting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to him in the second half of the game last night. So doing a little bit. There was a bunch of scouts of that game, by the way, and they all swarmed Salguero after the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like a scrum around him. Popular kid after that game.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. He's all right.
How tall is he? 6'8"?
I think they list him at 6'7". He's like big though. I mean, he's filled
Yeah,
out.
he's not
got
a
strong upper
slim
body.
6'7". He's a fella.
Runs the floor pretty well and decent looking stroke. So
All right. Yeah, I think MWP Napine that's the premier game that night. Although Waukesha Madda is going to be, that could be a shootout.
Adnan needs to win that one.
Okay.
107. Somebody score 107 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Score 108, you cowards.
They beat MWP's season high of 103 against Edenville.
All right. I love it. Anything else you guys want to add?
I don't think I have anything.
All right. We're going to close it out there. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the basketball.